welcome to the Prelarp for 2023 E3. Let's go. We're a bit more energized this time. We're not making the same crucial mistake, are we, Dave?
No.
Of doing it the day after.
No. I was a very sleepy boy after this event, and it's now, Friday, and I feel so much better about not being a sleepy little boy.
I think that, weirdly, we fell upon a strategy for making podcast episodes about a LARP experience, which was don't do it the exact day after it occurs.
Yeah, but life is difficult.
Life is difficult.
We have to
the logistics of it.
I mean,
but what an event!
Yeah, hello Prelarp fans.
Hello,
the few
with our new convert,
the bold pre-larpers.
You know, on LARPs and Tops,
who doesn't love a prelarp? Who doesn't love a prelarp?
You know, you were always a supporter, weren't you? Always, the biggest fan.
I never doubted prelarp at all, and I'm still a big fan of it now.
Yeah, in fact, you liked it more than me. You liked it first, I'm sure.
Well,
anyway, we'll get into it when we get to the proper episodes, but this was a really interesting event, I feel, and there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about, like more broader questions about LARP and Empire that I think are quite interesting, and your kind of love of it that we'll get to, I think, in later episodes. But we're in Prelarp, Dave.
Yeah, Prelarp. Oh, me and Ian just watched a documentary on Roman Reigns, and I said something quite deep.
Did you? Enlighten. Please.
Wrestling is like LARP.
Yeah.
In the same things that are good about wrestling are the same things that are good about LARP. Let's just leave that.
Don't analyse it too much.
Let's just leave that with the audience.
Yeah.
You wrestling fans, you chew on that for a while and let us know. But yeah. Right, you start us off.
Yeah,
you always have more pre-LARP shit than me. So.
Well, you know, although weirdly, so going into crafting, I don't have a lot to do these days, but I need stuff for my busy little hands.
You're peaked.
I mean, I didn't think I'd make it this long. I thought someone would have shanked me by now.
You did get shanked.
Well, that's true, but I thought someone would have finished me off.
Finished the job.
Finished the job. And then fucking Godfather, as we'll find out later, you think you're out and then they reel you back in, and there's no way, but we'll get to that later. So I need to do some crafting just to keep my busy hands on the go. One thing that I didn't realise was just how much fucking fun battle maging is. And I battle maged last time in E2 just because it was so hot I didn't want to put my full monster armour on that I normally have, which is like actually quite heavy because it's got like metal plates on it and stuff. So I just throw on a robe and I went out and battle maged, and I borrowed your little rod, and I was running around I think venoming people and shattering, I think it was. I was like, this is a lot of fun. So I was like, this is the way. I'm going to make a new kind of battle mage set of stuff for each of the different monsters. So I got myself like a full kind of Jotun-y set up, and I've got like colour changes because I wasn't sure if the Grendel were going to turn up, so I got myself like a Grendel outfit, a Druge version, and I basically can colour swap it with this kind of armour that I have, which is basically just like kind of a leather upper torso thing with lamlar that kind of extends down and two sort of tassets. You
bought it out and it was like, where the fuck did you get that from? Like, that is a very fancy piece of kit you got there.
Yeah, I got like a robe that I throw over it to be like, I am 100% a mage. The interesting thing when you're monstering is, and again, I think because we've just watched a thing about wrestling, is that kind of whole thing of like the cell of the identity of what you are. You can paint in very broad strokes, and it's just like, I'm wearing a robe with a big hood and I'm carrying a staff. I'm a mage. Like, be aware. Like,
someone also made the comment that some of your kit, Ian, looked like it could potentially be used for other nations at Empire.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite an astute observation.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of... I thought... because you never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's
going to happen. So I thought doubling up on some possibilities for moving to other nations should things occur.
Very shrewd. I liked it. Very sneaky, but very shrewd. Very impressed.
It was fun to make anyway. So I just put together this Battle Mage armor. It was just really good fun. Other than that, I think one of my main crafty things, which isn't really like crafting, it's writing actually, is the Ashbourne information sheets that I've been doing, which has been really good fun. Like my games...
Maybe talk about what they're for and what's in them.
Yeah, so they're just like basically like a complete cheat sheet, which has on one side all of the conjunction times, the battle opportunities, things like that. Also, which seats in Navarre for all the different things are open for election, a timetable for the Senate, a timetable for the military council. The other side is all about resources, who's who in Navarre, who holds what positions.
Am I on it?
Yeah, you're on it.
Oh, cool.
It tells you who your proxy is, so it's got Gaius on it, for example. That's Bung's character. And for each of the generals, it tell you who their adjunct is. It also tells you when all the when the elections for each of these positions are held and stuff like that, and the way in which they're elected.
Interesting.
And then like breakdowns of other positions, so things like the advisor on the Valorn, for example, is listed, and also like potion recipes. It's basically as much information as I could chuck on 2 sides of A4.
I love it how even when you posted it on Facebook and someone was like, it hasn't got this on it, and you were like, it's just like, oh my god, like there's so much information on it.
But it's impossible to... And it's basically... I tried to do it because originally I did it the season before when I was going to be in charge of Thorns Council. And the idea was... Talis wanted to be relatively good at this, even though, so he basically wanted to turn up and basically hand out information sheets to everybody to make sure that everyone is as informed as possible, because that's kind of Talis's thing. And so it's kind of was always subtly flavoured towards Fawns. Fawns being Navarre's kind of like more fighty, but this is a very broad strokes, but like more...
Leaders, right?
Yeah, kind of combat orientated kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to angle it that way, so it naturally isn't necessarily focused towards brokers or guides or vates, and it's not naturally focused towards resources that aren't, for example, military units or fleets. It's focused towards those things, like which are more specifically kind of campaign combat related. But over time, obviously, I've tried to pack more stuff into it, and it turned from being more of like a Fawns informational guide into like Fawns and new player kind of informational guide. Working with a whole bunch of other people, wonderful people in Navarre, like Travid and Matty, who was Larkin previously, and Andrew. It's just been great to just pull all this information and just kind of whack it in one place and pump them out. I made 100 of them, and then I made another 20 which I put inside little leather pouches that I put together because my hands needed to do something for the last few days before Empire,
or
and
you'll kill again.
I would literally kill again.
Yeah.
So I just made 20 that were inside these pouches. We'll get to it when it comes, but like they went very quickly, and that was such a good feeling.
Did you charge for them?
No.
Fuck's sake.
Well, no, because like I did genuinely want them to be.
Yeah,
because they're information sheets.
I'm joking. I think it's really, really admirable, but you should probably sell them.
Yeah, well, I was going to be like start doing more like prosperity. For new players, I don't expect anything for it.
This is the problem: is that like you want to help out new players, but we're broke. We're like the brokest striding ever. Like we're so fucking poor.
I specifically am like. Some kind of weird beggar king.
It's the first time I've ever seen you ask for money.
Yeah.
Because, like, you sold a few books and you were living fat on the hog from the books you'd sold.
Yeah. But I just don't really do that anymore. I think that this is the core reality of it. Ian really struggles to sell the things that he makes. So I really get embarrassed about it. Like, I find it really hard to walk up to somebody with a book or a potion or a thing I've made and ask them for 2 thrones, however much it is, right, for the thing. So I don't like doing that. I find it uncomfortable.
And what was my advice to you when I tell you about selling?
I don't know.
Never apologise for your presence. Number one is to never approach someone like, I'm so sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
Would you like to and as soon as you have that kind of like mindset that you're there because your shit's awesome and they might be interested, it becomes way easier, dude.
It's hard. It's that, but it's also like actually finding the time to go out and sell stuff. Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
We need a broker. Really
like some people really enjoy that side of the game. It's just not for me, to be perfectly honest.
Me either.
I found that actually Talus's game, my game, has turned a lot more into interacting with new people, being a weird like signpost. Like a colourful signpost that points at people. People come up to me and I'm like, go and talk to this person because they know a lot more about that thing that you're asking about than me. It's a nice role. I actually really honestly enjoy it.
Well, you do stand out, so that's good.
So anyway, I made those. That was really fun, really enjoyable to do. We'll get to it because it was actually a reasonable part of my my event, but handing it out was great fun and so rewarding. The other thing I did was I wrote my article inside the Trusty Turnip, which is a marcher paper. Now, I've got a copy here.
It's so ridiculous.
It's called Oh Captain, My Captain by Talus Ashbourne. I'm tempted to read it out, but I won't.
It's a bit long to read out,
but if you can find a copy, or if you can find me, I probably will do readings of it. It's basically discussing what happened last event from Talus's perspective.
It's smut. It reads like smut.
It does. But
it's a love letter.
Yes.
To the mercenary captain that protected you / kidnapped you.
Yes.
Last summit.
Yeah.
And it is quite the read.
I think I did it I was really chuffed, actually.
It's very good.
I was genuinely very happy with it. Writing it was so much fun. Helen, who put the newspaper together, just said, it was one of those things where you saw someone post, I'm looking for articles for a newspaper, and I was like, do you mind if a Navari writes something in this? She was like, what did you have in mind? I was like, ham-fisted out this article. It's like this. And she was like, 100%. And I was like,
this is what this paper's all about.
It was so good.
It's a love letter to this captain, right?
But also actually to the whole band of them.
Yes.
Basically, it was because the experience they'd given me and the game they had expended on me was so awesome.
Those poor bastards.
Those poor bastards. I mean, imagine having to put up with me for that length of time.
Well.
And yeah, it was basically I really needed to do something just to be like, you guys are fucking awesome.
And they didn't even get paid.
No, they didn't even get paid for it. That was so much fun to do.
Those suckers.
Another piece of writing I did, sorry to bash through all my stuff really quickly, Dave.
This is Prelarp, Ian. This is your kingdom. This is where you rule.
So big part of Talus's story, post debacle, post the gate is closing debacle,
post you being accused. I'll say of let's be polite.
Yeah.
Being accused of creating a route,
yes,
which ended up getting
many people killed.
Lot of people dead.
Yeah, influential people.
A lot of people that are very well cherished.
Yeah.
From not only Navarre but also the League.
Yes. Yeah.
People were pretty upset about that.
People were pretty upset about it. I got branded for it, which was all spicy RP. But one of the real heart punch was having Yelona's character start this wonderful, really fantastically RP'd grudge against Talus, blaming him for the death of her love.
And this is the person who wrote a fucking song for the Navarches
and sings it. He used to sing it basically before every battle before he went in. They're very close.
And
I named my bow after the song that she wrote.
And she refused to sing it while you were still in charge of the Navarches.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. And then later when I failed to go to the funeral
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, it was so bad. I failed to go to the funeral.
Fuck, you missed the fucking funeral.
It was so bad, and...
Oh, my God.
Then I turned up at a pub, and she was there with, like, her friends, and they snubbed us, stood up, and left. It was so good. All of it. What was delicious about this was just, like, the RP was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But there was, like, constant checking in, which was just like really, because we get on really well like OC, right? But it was just like the character is just broken by this, and she broke the bow when I left it as like a thing, like to be like I'm sorry, and she's like, you can't buy me off, all of this kind of stuff. When I went to get a fucking sausage, she's like, you know, having a go at me, and then like snaps this bow and is like, enjoy your sausage. And now I can't enjoy my sausage anymore.
She took that away from
you.
It
was so good. And rightly so. Talis deserves it. It was one of those things where the storyline had shifted wonderfully, deliciously from this kind of broader national thing, which is still bubbling on even now. It's a thing that Talis just has to live with.
It is.
Yeah, very much so. We'll get to that, actually. It's very, like, Talis as an object lesson, and actually how he feels about that is very complicated.
You're a cautionary tale.
A cautionary tale. But how he feels about that is fun to play with. It's also, actually really delicious.
It's also like now, like I know a lot more information that's public.
Yes.
And it's pretty tragic. Like there's a lot of there's different layers of what people know.
Yes.
And the very public surface level is that Talis is a disgrace.
Yeah.
And then you start like digging down a little further, and then you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that, and oh my God, that's fucking crazy, and like, man,
there's multiple layers to it. It's LARP's a funny game where you're like, you have these kind of broad stroke things, but like there is the kind of the broader interpretation of who Talis is, but then I like to feel there's a much deeper aspect to who the character is that I've discovered along with everybody else. And that's thanks to all of the interactions you have, and just through play. It's been a hugely rewarding process.
I'm so impressed by how you've become way more comfortable with conflict.
Yeah.
Like, you're so chill in your own skin, and as Talis, that you're like, this is great RP! Like... You're really having a good time. Obviously, this is a testament to the players you're interacting with while doing it.
Massively. I think one of the other things... We spoke about this, actually, during the game, because you brought the same topic up. And I think, for me, it's just the reality that I have control. And the players allow me to have control. And if I was ever uncomfortable, I genuinely feel like I could stop it immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, it would be stopped.
But I feel
and I just don't feel... I feel no... Like, the separation level is so high for me that I feel genuinely so comfortable. But yeah, so walking into this whole thing, I was just like, I need to do a Talis-like gesture, because he's very flawed in like trying to make this better. So I had this song that I wanted to perform at Songs and Stories. And it's basically a full mea culpa. Of like...
Can you explain what a mea culpa is?
Like, I'm responsible.
Okay.
Like, everything I do... Like, everything that she says about, like, my pride descending into hubris and stuff, there's truth to it. And more so than that, it's basically like his kind of life story told through song. And, like, you appear as Ifan in it. As, like, a formative part of his life. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Like... There's the whole aspect of when Ifan died, like, being that you were so heavily into ambition. No, seriously, this is that, like, Ifan dying, like, Talis basically was like, oh, okay, I need to have ambition, and that's when he became, if you remember, that's when he became leader of the Navarches afterwards. That's when he started getting himself dedicated to pride not long after. And that kind of gave him the drive. But you got to remember, this is like Talis looking at Ifan and taking the parts of Ifan.
And you named your pet
lizard,
iguana, which is Ifan, which is obviously a great fucking send-off to my character, is to be named after a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Yeah, he's much loved. He's more loved than I am, probably.
He's more loved than Ifan ever was. That's for damn sure.
I wrote this song, but we'll get to it when the performance is. But one thing there's two versions of this song, basically. There's a version that I will probably sing from now on, which is basically the cautionary tale and this kind of message at the end, which is very true to the Ashbourne message of from ashes we rise, from sorrows we grow, like a learning experience through tragedy, essentially. For this particular version, I wanted to do a thing where once I finish the song, it transitions into this idea, well, basically sing Fly Free, Fly True, but basically saying, don't sing it for me, but for you, is basically the way that the Latin lyrics go. And I kind of repeat this multiple times and direct it directly towards her. We'll get to how that goes down. It's very... I was kind of aware of what I was doing. Again, when you're playing... This is like Talus's version.
You're still making it about you.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Yeah. Like it's like, and that gets called out, which is fantastic. But we'll get to all of this because it just leads to some really fantastic RP. And I like the great thing is when you've got a character like that, and you're kind of playing around these kind of things, you can address a lot of that stuff, like that exact thing, like the idea of making a bad situation kind of about your sorrow and about you, that you're sorry, and it's actually more about you being sorry than the other person's thing.
I'm on Iona.
But I am as well. That's the wonderful thing. Like, I'm happy to but I didn't want it to be like. I wanted to make it deeper than just, for example, the other way of doing this whole thing would be to have Talus be like, oh, I'm completely right. Like, what I did was right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and to have the adversary relationship be that I reject your idea of rejecting me. But I wanted it to be much more like, actually, it's a very poorly delivered apology, and it's the wrong way. His lack of understanding of how to deliver a healthy apology. And it is I wanted it to be that.
He's an egomaniac.
Exactly, right? And I wanted, the whole point is he is flawed, right? And it's like that is the exact point. But at the same time, he is genuinely sorry, right? Like, he is genuinely remorseful. He just is not able to actually communicate on that level.
It's also, like I said, there's many...
There's a lot more to it.
It's like a lasagna with a cheesy top, and many fucking layers with cheese mixed in that, but meatiness as well.
Which we'll get to, because I did begin... Ooh. I did begin to lay some of that out.
Really?
I did, yeah. I think it's necessary. I have this philosophy, and this goes for a lot of elements of play. A secret is only worth having if it will be revealed.
Same thing as any tabletop roleplay game, same thing. Just knowing a secret and not using it is fucking boring.
People need to know, and it needs to, like... Yeah, to have the ability that people can find out in play is fantastic.
Yes, I agree.
So anyway, I wrote this song. We'll get to it when the performance comes. That was.
Are you going to sing it?
Oh, I did sing it.
No, are you going to sing it on the podcast?
I think I'm going to record it, and then I'll do a recording of it. I don't think I'll sing it on. I don't think we'll see. We'll see how I feel.
All right. Well, stay tuned, folks.
We'll see. But I think I will definitely do a proper recording, and there's a reason for that, which we'll get to when we get to actually when I did it.
We could use it as an outro to one of the episodes.
Maybe that might be nice, actually. But I'm definitely going to record it. Okay. It needs to be recorded and put out there because of how it didn't quite. I didn't quite do it right for funny reasons, which we'll get to when we get to it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I did that. The other thing that was taking place was I am now properly standing down from the departures. We're having an election. This is the opportunity for the candidates to step up and get elected. And I'm going to master of ceremonies the election for the new Navarch's captain. It was so lovely, actually. I mean, we'll get to it when we get there, but just being like, oh, how are we going to run this? Talking about it OC, because you want to make sure everyone's comfortable with what's happening. Like,
did they tear off your stripes?
No, it's so wholesome how it is. The Navarchers is lovely, dude. Yeah, it's such a lovely group.
Yeah, the kind of smiling killers that are the Navarchers.
And very effective, and much more effective without me, as we will discover.
Yes.
No, genuinely though, we'll get to it, but like, my role in the whole thing and having been part of it, it's something that genuinely fills me with a lot of pride.
Going from that, looking at the next item on the agenda, which is just fashion show - party foods. If there was more of a Talis like bullet point than fashion show and party foods.
Yeah.
What do you mean by fashion show and party foods?
Well, actually, I'll just quickly finish about the Navarchers first, because this also flies in. We were going to, we decided after the election what we'd do is we head down to this Liga archery range that has been made. I've been in contact with the player who runs that, who's fantastic. And we wanted to do a party, the Navarchers party that we normally do, wanted to do at the archery range.
Okay.
This meant getting more party food in, because I'd already arranged that I was going to do all the food, like the party food for the crowd, and basically be looking after the crowd at the fashion show. So that basically we ended up we knew the fashion show because it's the Navarre Fashion Show International Edition that was being run this time in the Market. And we were aware it was probably going to be bigger, like a lot bigger. And it was a lot bigger, by the way.
Did you promote it?
We almost didn't. We kind of did, but we almost didn't need to, because we actually Hazel was an absolute boss and Obi was an absolute boss. We got Obi in as a third person because we literally need. Well, I mean, he's fantastic, but we genuinely need a third person as well, just because of the size of it. And they literally pretty much they got some people before the event, but the majority of it, which we'll get into when we get to the event, literally signed up at the event, running around, getting names on boards. It's a lot of people. It was a big deal.
I have a lot of
questions. I've got a lot of questions.
But
I got a crap load of food in. I got obligatory Talis cupcakes. You've got to have cupcakes. Loads and loads of these little Rice Krispie squares, which I break into multiple parts and have bowls full of in multiple different flavours, which are actually very good combat snacks. I had lemonade, fancy lemonade, and water, and cups. Importantly, cups which come with straws, because we can't have people supping from the rim like a pleb. You have to give people the option to drink from a straw and elevate themselves. Which is so funny.
A lot to unpack in that one statement, Ian. A lot to unpack.
It was so much fun.
When you unloaded the car, it's like you were feeding the 5,000. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, normally I'm a bit camp mummish. Actually, weirdly, this time I wasn't so much, because we were getting fed. This is skipping ahead a bit, but the Ramblers Rest and Dread Shields had been in touch with me, and I got in touch with you guys, and basically, in an amazing gesture, our neighbours had offered to basically provide us with food on the Friday and Saturday. And by food, by the way, is a bland term for describing a banquet,
a feast.
Got a tomahawk steak, Dave.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And like stew, incredible. Hell. That tomahawk steak was ridiculous.
Eating a tomahawk steak and then going to Senate.
You finished yours, didn't you?
Yeah, I ate the whole thing. Yeah, not the bone, obviously. I couldn't get that down, but everything else, yeah.
Dave, I made a pitiful attempt.
Well, you had stew as well,
Dave. I had no this, because bear in mind, I'm actually very uncultured. I'm constantly aware whenever I hang around the rest of you guys how uncultured I am, how like unsuitable for like general civilization I am beyond my own paltry experience, and I genuinely didn't know what a tomahawk steak was. I literally thought it was like just a little bit of meat. I genuinely didn't realise. I didn't make the connection that it was going to literally look like a tomahawk.
Like a tomahawk.
It looks of like meat. Yeah. It was, when it was handed to me, I literally thought it was like a joke food.
Yeah, it's Flintstone style big.
it was so intimidating. I was like, there's not room. Like, logistically, it doesn't actually fit.
I made room.
You're a chat. I have no idea how you managed it. So, yeah, party foods. But yeah, as a result of knowing that Ramblers Rest were going to feed us, an amazing gesture, I didn't actually get that much stuff at the camp, which is different to how I normally run things. And it all just went on the parties instead, which was great. And the last thing I did was do the IC camp plan. So we've got some wonderful camp planners in Navarre. And I have started really over the last sort of 2 things. I don't know why. Again, busy hands need to be kept busy, I suppose.
Or you'll end up piling more dead bodies in the woods.
I don't know. Yeah, I've started doing a thing where I take the camp plan and then I turn it into an IC printable version of the camp plan.
Yeah, what do you use? What's the program called again?
I actually use Incarnate to use it, which is what I use in D&D often when I'm doing like town level stuff.
Yeah. That's great.
It's just a nice, easy way of doing it. And now I've got a template. It's just a matter of moving things around a bit every time they release it. And yeah, just plotting it all out. And I print off a few and hand them out to people, basically.
Again, wasn't there some confusion about which way up the map was?
Yeah.
I mean...
I'm trying over here.
LARPers can't have nice things, dude.
I'm trying. But actually, no, genuinely, doing it was... It's a nice little fun thing. And I think, actually, it has real use, because it's like, where is such and such a thing? Look at the map, and then you can find.
It's icy as well.
It's supposed
to. It looks like it's like drawn, so it's nice. I think the camp planners do amazing work. I
would not want that job.
I don't want that job. Yeah. I don't want that job at all.
Having camp plan adjacent job is as close as I ever want to come to it. Massive respect to Rosemary and Kit.
It was interesting though. Like, it feels like the Navarre Woods. Like, they were more jam-packed at E1.
I don't know if that's just a perception. The woods are very strange, right? Because they tend to swallow stuff up. And I'm also not sure... obviously, as groups move around, and like a small group... Say, I think like a few groups that were camping near us actually ended up joining with some of the groups that were on the field side of Navarre. Because that was very busy, that section. And trying to squeeze all of the tents in there was quite tough. So I'm not sure. Like, the migration of people's hard to really compute. And I think some people do just choose to co-OC, because there are... I mean, we love camping IC, but there are definitely advantages to camping OC in some ways as well.
OC camping was absolutely chocker. I think we should talk about that in the next episode, potentially. I'm a senator. I get letters.
You do?
So many letters.
Yes.
So many letters.
Yes.
And I'm a very busy boy at the moment, and have been for what seems like months at this stage. I started getting letters about the throne.
Right.
People wanting for me to nominate them, wanting it to be resolved, like, and it's just like, oh god, like
this is what your constituents want.
I know it's what my constituents want, but
is it difficult as well, because also, like, I suppose very much like a real world politician, the letters you get of the people are from the people who are motivated to send you letters, and not necessarily indicative of a broader sense. Is there?
I don't know. Like, I think it's the fact I got multiple letters with similar themes implies that
there is a swell.
So I think you have to kind of like, for me anyway, I want to be, and bear in mind I'm going completely on a populist ticket, right?
Yeah.
Like, so usually,
you're fantastic, by the way.
If someone is asking me something, usually it's like an IC conversation would be a better way to respond, because I can actually explain stuff. Because a lot of the stuff, and this is a problem with a lot of aspects of the game, is like what's going on in the Senate, right?
Yeah.
Like what actually happens in Senate. Because like to go along and sit in the viewing gallery for 4 hours at least minimum per event is a lot for anyone to ask. So I want to be the sort of senator that if you want to ask me about a thing or are interested in a thing, come and find me, but also be as accessible to that as possible,
yes.
right? Like, please come find me.
I think actually you do this really well. I mean, I'm sure all the senators do. But one thing I think you do really, really well is when someone comes up to you, you give them full time and attention. And also, I always feel like the people who work around you are very well informed and up to speed with not just what you're... It feels like it's information that you have all shared together. And it feels like a team that are very well rehearsed on the talking points and the opinions that you have as a collective.
We literally do that. Like...
So what, like when you're not there and somebody comes up to speak to Gaius on a topic... Mm-hmm. It feels like they're kind of talking to you.
Yeah, well, I've really made sure of this. We do it. We kind of have a rough conversation before the event, usually on the Friday,
right?
And then we'll sit down and have because everything. Think of it like everything's in flux and moving. So it's not like you can be like, we're 100% doing this.
Yeah.
You have to be like, here are a few basic objectives for what we want to do. These are the things we're interested in. And then we have a bit of a powwow and a conversation about it. Everyone's opinion on stuff is completely valid. I usually make the kind of end decision on stuff. Guiding the ship rather than...
Yeah, it felt like... Because there was this point on Friday, if you don't mind kind of touching on it now, because it was pre-LARP, but it was on Friday, and it was very interesting, because there was a bit where you, if you like, and people like Agni and Gaius before Timon basically sat down and basically just hashed out as you're saying. And it was kind of interesting to listen to all of these different points and counterpoints, and it kind of ended broadly with a gut opinion of where you were with all of the different things and what the objectives were going to be based off that.
Yeah.
I think it was a really interesting, because obviously I have really I don't swim in that pool, right? I don't generally that's deep end stuff, and I'm busy with my fucking armbands on with a Mai Tai.
Mate, I'm a minnow in the deep.
I know, but you're in that deep waters. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, it's interesting, watching you operate. It's just quite fascinating.
I think you develop a shorthand.
Yeah.
There's when you're talking to the team, it's because we've been doing it a little while now, we're very quick at communicating what our intentions are. We also have a general kind of vibe of what Gellert Ashbourne as the kind of as a political entity,
what the identity is,
what we are about, what are things that interest us, what do we want to see pushed, what don't we like, what do all that stuff.
We'll get to it when we get to the episodes, to the actual episodes of the event. But I think it's really interesting, and I don't know if this is true, but it feels like you're still very actively involved in the diplomacy game.
Yes.
And you're often a senator that people come to for diplomatic insight.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really really interesting subset of skill.
I wasn't even a good ambassador.
Yeah.
But a lot of the I keep saying, a lot of this stuff is, I really like it when people come up and ask questions about the thing, and I can be like, here's the fucking thing. We'll talk about it during the episode, because it's happened a few times. I really, really, that's one of the, because there's different, so there's Leafy. Leafy is an absolute expert on how the Empire runs and the economy of the Empire.
Yeah.
Travid is really fucking good at trying to get shit done. He organises people, he has objectives that he wants. He plays a little fast and loose with some bits and pieces, but he's very effective and a very good orator. And it's I think before coming into this event, I've been comparing myself to much more experienced politicians, and then to be actually, I can carve my own lane.
Yeah.
I don't have to be as perky and well informed and chatty as Travid is. I don't need to be an expert on every aspect and nuance of Senate motions and the economy. I can do what I do for my constituents, right?
Honestly, it was really interesting watching you operate, and I think you found this, but I certainly watched you really I feel in this event especially stamped down the identity of what a Gellert Ashbourne senatorial situation looks like, and that makes sense both IC but also as a functional element of play, if that makes sense. I think it was really interesting. I think like you constantly fascinate me in the way that you delegate your game out in, I think, a way that I think is quite inspirational.
I can't do it on my own. That's the only reason why. But I'll talk a lot about this actually when we get into the event, because I had a few epiphanies while doing it. So, right. Should we do some Thursday stuff as well?
Yeah, well, one of the main things as well going into this that I really want to touch on was our lovely friend John, who had joined us at the beginning of 2023 at E1, had joined the Ashbourne. He's leaving. He's heading off.
He's off to Japan.
He's off to Japan for several years, but potentially who knows how long.
And like we're deliberately trying to keep the Ashbourne as our striding really fucking small.
Yeah.
And Caddick was just such a good part of that. He also had like really interesting game being part of the spy world
stuff. Definitely not a spy, by the way.
Definitely not. Our man in Sumar.
Which, by the way, I think we definitely like. I love the idea of continuing on a bit of remote RP with John.
Massively, dude. Yeah,
I'm tempted to even like maybe write little newspaper articles or something. Like
I like the idea, because he's flying out tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
is after we finish our recording, whatever time it is, I'm going to blast out this episode, just so he has something to listen to on the plane.
Yeah.
Because, John, you'll be really missed, man, but I think you're going to do a great job out there, so...
Yeah, like, it was fun. I think, especially if you're going to blast this out soon, at the very end of the whole event, it was, this is, like, packed down, everything. It was fun to do, like, an IC and an OC goodbye to him. It was really, I've been very close with John, and Talis has been very close with Caddick for a long time, and it was just like, it was pretty emotional, but it was in a lovely way, because I'm so happy for him as a person.
Yeah.
And his character has been a triumph, like, and a genuine, like, wonderful asset to add to the Ashbourne. It's added a really cool flavour to it.
The friends you make along the way in your little LARP journey, it's the sweet sorrow of saying goodbye, it's, But, hey, here's to Caddick.
Yeah, have a great time, homie. Thursday.
Yes.
Thursday's always a lot of fun. Are you really sure what you're going to do on Thursday as well?
I going into the event, I went to a spa on Wednesday. I did some sitting in the sauna,
nice
lovely. Swim. It was nice. Yeah. But for the lead up, I didn't do as much planning, reading, and I had a lot of things kind of moving around in my head at the time. So this is a Friday thing. But actually, you do your stuff, then I'll talk about my Friday.
Okay.
It gets a bit kind of onto the point of being fucking ludicrous. But go on.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you really went through it. But we had, for some reason I've written this down on the Thursday, although it happened on the Friday, but I'll fast forward to Friday for it. There was the photo shoot, which I'd arranged with Kieran, and I was going to be doing with Becca. And this was just a really fun opportunity. To go out and have photos taken.
The
Talis
photos are amazing.
Oh my gosh, they look so good. I'm not... I really struggle with photos in general. I'm one of those people where when you're at a family do and someone's smile, and you put on a smile, and it's just they'll say to you after you're smiling, smile, and you're like, I am smiling. This is my smile. And I feel really uncomfortable, and I'm just genuinely bad. I never know what to do with my hands. I never know how to hold myself and stuff. There's something about LARP and being in Talis kit, and Kieran's fantastic, and he literally tells you how to pose and where to move and takes you to areas. So it started off in Navarre, and we sort of did some sort of posing on the fire pit and stuff. I was still quite, you're in a public space, and it was kind of OCIC. I wasn't entirely at ease. Then he took us and it was good, but and then he took us to the woods. So we go through the Sentinel Gate, and we head into the woods
for the nudes.
For the nudes. No, for like some
LARP
like
Noobs only fans coming soon.
No, and we did some like posed shots there, and oh my gosh, it was so good. Like I genuinely can't wait for some of the photos.
Did you put one of the photos? Because I've seen some of them. Have any of them gone on the...
only the two, basically.
Have you put them on the LARP Noobs thing?
I've only put the one of me and Becca on.
Yeah, that one's fucking great.
Which is great. I'm holding
Really
Ifan, who is this kind of pet iguana that I have. And I'm basically like shielding him to protect him. Becca's standing in front of me, basically sword out towards some foe off camera that she is protecting me from. I look like I'm about to start to sort of turn and run and sort of mid worry.
It's great.
And what are they look stoic as shit, right?
Someone made a comment that was like, that's a buddy cop movie I would watch. And I was like, hell yeah, it would be. Yeah, like
it's
really
so good. And we'll get to Becca, like their character.
Hold on, spoilers.
Yeah, no, but like, it was a lot of fun because they got in touch and were like, can I share this time slot with you? We did it. It was so fun. Awesome character dynamic. Doing all these kind of post shots was so much fun. Massive shout out to Kieran. There's more to come. I can't wait to put the whole album out. Stop. Okay.
We should just call these the spoilers for the main event episodes.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. We both went out, got pissed.
Dude.
I'm walking along. I'm heading to the Reapers where my friends are in the evening to have a beverage with them. And I see Goldie and his camp, okay? So I stop off there and it's got like... it's the ex-master of the Mint. His name's Jason OC. I can't remember what his name is. OC.
Yeah.
They're all in this camp. It's the same one with Derek the puppet.
Amazing.
We're all hanging out. We're chatting. They're all such lovely people. And they sing this fucking song. And it was so good. And I think Jason wrote it, but it was all about League-ish shit, right? Like, and it was really, really good. And, like, they were so welcoming, so nice. And then I went off and I spoke to the Reapers. And I'm getting so much pressure at the stage to join the fucking Reapers. To join the League.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everyone's like,
you're wanted.
Join the League. Join the League.
You're getting scalp hunted hard. And the thing is, you're genuinely getting offers from all sorts of different sort of nations and stuff you want.
But man, they really fucking put me in the vice this event. The reason why I bring it up is because it was like, they were like, come on. It was just like, oh man. And then for like a second, I'd be like, I could join the League, and then I'd be like, no. So yeah, that was. But yeah, I like the League vibe, man. There's a lot of good folks in the League.
I love the League.
Their egregores cool. They're fun. I just don't think I can be asked to iron. Ironing seems like a lot of work, and having good kit, and it's like I'm not cool enough. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I there's another character down the line. I don't think Talis can move.
Oh, what about a Gellert heel turn where I join the League?
Oh, that'd be amazing. I can see you moving. Like, I can definitely see. I can see actually Gellert moving to a bunch of nations.
Oh, God, filthy.
I think, like, for the right reasons, I think Gellert would move. Like, but I think Gellert would. Gellert's actually. I don't know how you feel about it. I think Gellert has this. Like he views the great dance and the move through nations as in a much more naturalistic kind of way. That like it's a bit like, do you remember when Demarian left and went to Dawn, and you're like, oh, he's a Dawnishman.
Yeah,
like he wasn't a Navari, and the great dancers led him to Dawn.
Yeah,
and I feel that's very much how Gellert's view of these things are.
Gellert is because there's a lot of edgy people who are heretics and try to undermine everything. Gellert is a true believer in the Empire. He actually genuinely believes that the different like political bodies of like the Synod and military council and Senate, this is the way, literally the way that we should. That this is the best form of governance. Yeah. Like I'm like, you know how like some Americans are like, land of the free, and like they've got a monopoly on freedom. No one else in the world knows a fucking Scooby-Doo about freedom. They're the freest people ever and all this stuff. And that's kind of how Gellert is about. Like, he's completely believes that through living by the way and the way the Empire operates, that we are the greatest nation, and we will also, by just being us, we will change other people's opinions.
We're going to change the world.
Yeah, we're going to change the world, and the world's going to be better when it's all part of the Empire. Yeah. Like, Gellert believes that firmly.
I think I really got a sense, actually, of you, and it felt like there was something about, I think you, as I say, finding this kind of element of play in being the senator, I think has helped you discover a lot more about who the character is of Gellert. Because I think there were points last year where you were still kind of not sure of who Gellert was and trying to find the separation between who Gellert was and who you are. I feel that's much more clearly defined now.
I would agree.
And I think especially with the decisions you're making a lot more choices now, which are, as we like to say, not necessarily optimal choices if you had the full range of OC knowledge, right? You often act on IC knowledge.
I think it's more like, when you play a character for a while, you start to see like things coming up over and over again, like having my team and generally being like a bit of a shit, like never having any money.
Yeah.
Being very easily distracted by shiny things.
Your relationship with Agni is phenomenal.
Agni, write this down. Agni, what am I doing? What am I doing? When can I have a meeting with this person? Because I literally have no idea what my schedule is.
I love the whole thing. So for people who don't know, Gellert, Dave's character, has this scribe played by the wonderful Millie, who plays Agni. And you've got Gaius, our kind of brand, as your proxy. And it's a wonderful team. But the relationship you have with these players, especially with Agni, is this... It's such an interesting dynamic that constantly makes me smile. Like, it's so... Like, it works because you're OC really good friends, first and foremost. But it's like this idea of, like, this man who is entirely against slavery has a person who he doesn't pay.
No.
Who...
to be fair, I did pay her.
Did you?
Yeah.
You did pay her.
Quill wanted to give her a throne and Millie refused, so I took the throne off Quill and then gave it to her.
Amazing.
So effectively I paid her.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, the money did pass through your hands.
Yes.
But like, just the way that Gellert treats her, I guess for reasons we can't actually explain, because it's like in character things are going on with regard to Millie's character.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And I really felt like over the last, I would say this year, I think maybe starting in E2, you really started hitting this wonderful ball rolling of character identity, fun dynamic, and adding a lot more, which I think you really needed in your game, just fun.
Yes.
Just fun RP that I think...
Oh my god, we'll talk about that. Jesus.
Cheeky RP as well.
Cheeky.
I think because you're actually, Dave, like, really charismatic, really funny. I think sometimes you've been playing quite seriously. I don't know if you feel this way, but I think you've been playing quite seriously and focused on outcomes a little bit more than was maybe necessary.
We'll talk about this, but I think like you can't change the world, but by standing by your principles and doing the things that you want to do, you build momentum.
Yes,
and then you change that the aspects of the thing by being part of that story. And it's like, outcomes not necessarily, but being. We're very much talking. I talk about spoilers. I'm talking about the event right now.
Okay. But no, I found it fascinating going into this event. I felt like you had a much better grasp of who Gellert was. And that's really what I wanted to say. And I feel you're much happier for it.
Yeah. Ian, we've almost been talking for an hour. We should...
What's this singing in the league?
That's the songs in the league. The song I heard.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Ian, we actually have 12 patrons now.
Oh my gosh. Do we have a D12?
Could you go and check on there and see if there's a D12 in there?
There is, literally a D12.
Really? Oh, fantastic. Okay, cool. Roll the dice, Ian.
Kazamo. It's a 12.
Ooh. Charles Yarnold, thank you very much for your patronage.
Thank you so much, Charles.
Really appreciate it, and to all the rest of our patrons.
Amazing.
We appreciate you. See, look at us.
Yeah.
We're actually doing...
We had a correct dice relatively on hand and rolled it. Achieved a number and announced your name in relatively good order.
No one else joined the Patreon until you have, 8 other friends? And then we can roll a D20.
Amazing.
So don't just sign up now.
Yeah, you got to get a club of 8 people.
Get 8 people together and then do it. But unless there's like another person joins and then like just kick someone out and have 7. What other nominations of dice? And then we need to get to 100, don't we?
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing.
We'll be back for E3 2023. It's going to be fucking great.
Nice Friday. And John, if you're in the air listening to this, have a fucking great time, dude.
People,
we love you.
Okay, you're much likely to die from a donkey than you are from a plane crash.
I can't believe you went there.
I'm just saying, to comfort him. To comfort him.
There's often snacks at the back of the plane, by the way, John. If you head all the way to the back on
also,
a long haul Red Bull flight, go to the back if you can't sleep.
Yeah. Also, the same thing with drinks. They usually ply you with drinks fast to try and make you go to sleep. Yeah. If you get up and then start heading back, they'll look after you. A whiskey and a beer is a good idea. Sometimes they give you a little bit of static and say there's only 1 drink per person. Just say it's the person next to you that's sleeping. That's the key, okay?
Right.
So John, have a great flight. I hope the jet lag doesn't kick you in. But thanks again to our patrons and you for listening. Peace.